Hello, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on the third episode of our Tech Security 101 webinar. Just before we start, I would like for every one of us here to avail us 5 minutes of their time for us to enable others join. So we'll be kicking off at exactly 5:05. So please endeavor to stay on the call while we wait for others to join. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening. And thank you for joining us on the third episode of our Tech Security 101 webinar. For those of us that joined earlier, thank you for patiently waiting for 5 minutes for others to join. And for those that are just joining us, thank you for joining today's webinar session. My name is Chisom Anis Yuba, and I'll be moderating today's webinar session. So a brief background to our topic for today. A data breach is the intentional or unintentional release of secure or private or confidential information to an untrusted environment. Keeping our data safe, whether it's in a situation when a device is lost or stolen, can be very challenging. Our topic for today, data protection with Sophos Central Device Encryption, simply put, is an advanced multi-factor authentication with encryption. And taking us on the topic is David Olatoye, a network and security engineer at Ha-Shem Limited. So before we proceed, I would like to give us a bit of housekeeping rules. Please let's endeavor to mute our mics so that it can be a seamless learning experience for every one of us here. If you have any questions, please note them down. You can type them in the chat window. And once it's time for the Q&A session, I'll get right to all your questions. The session currently is being recorded, and the recording will be made available to every one of us after the session. And please endeavor to fill our evaluation form, as we would like to know how we've done on today's topic and the session in general. Also, I'll be sharing our social media links. If you haven't followed us on any of our social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, please endeavor to follow us. And now I'll be handing over to David to take us on today's topic. Thank you all, and I hope you enjoyed today's session. Over to you, David.
So this Saturday, Friday,
Hello. I'm not sure David can hear me. Hello.
David, can you hear
Hello.
us?
Yeah. Thank you. Hello. I can hear you.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Chisom. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking time off to join in our tech security webinar today. We have amazing content to share with you. Each year, millions of computers are misplaced, stolen, or lost, many of them containing important and sensitive data. Full disk encryption is the essential first line of defense to protect your data in any of these events. Today's topic, we'll be talking about data protection using Sophos Central Device Encryption. I am Olatoye David, a network and security support engineer working at Ha-Shem. I hope all of you keep safe in this pandemic. It's going to be an interesting topic. Today's agenda, different organizations have been thinking of how their users can work at home with all the challenges of data breach. We'll be looking at what management of different organizations have been looking for a solution for their staff to work, and the reason, effects, and challenges of data breach in different institutions. And we're going to talk about the solution, which is Sophos Central Device Encryptions, how it can be used to protect your data. And we are going to show you a few demos, and we'll be taking your questions afterward. Majority of mobile professionals carry laptops containing confidential company information. Password alone do not protect data. The best way to make sure your data is secure at rest is by encrypting the computer hardware. Before the lockdown, management of different organizations have been looking at what solutions can be used to secure their endpoints so that users can work remotely and ensuring that those data are secure. They have been asking their IT staff to look for a solution that has a high level of security that can never be breached. And that solution must meet compliance requirements. As part of compliance requirements, you are likely to be able to verify which computer in your organization are encrypted. And in case of lost or stolen laptops, organizations also need to provide proof that these missing devices are encrypted. We have seen a lot that has happened during the lockdown period. We've seen in the month of April, We've seen the scenario that happened in Lagos and in US as well, whereby people are protesting for Black Lives Matters. Some people are there just to take over the scenario, and then we've seen how people loot to shops, steal a lot of devices. Even here in Lagos, we've seen what has been happening during the period of April to May. A lot of CIOs and CEOs have resigned due to data breach that have not been able to protect. A lot of cars have been stolen. Over millions of credit cards have been taken and stolen by thefts. 70 millions of customers are affected nationwide. Retail outlets and different organizations have spent $100 million in the light of this attack. What are the reasons for data breach? Reason for data breach, we've seen some people, their main objective is to defraud organization. They find it easy and they find it as a joy to sit in their comfort zone and try to hack into different organizations' database and steal informations. Another reason that we've seen that the internal control being put in place in different organizations, the control mechanism are not well standard. How are they ensuring that data are moving from one staff to another? Are they following the rules and procedure laid down by the organization? Even inadequate training of staff also cause data breach in organization. A lot of companies do not train their internal staff, even their security personnel. They need to engage them with adequate training on securing data to avoid fraud. Majority of this is even caused by internal staff. At the end of this month, the take home of each staff, by the time they see their take home is very huge, they will be joyful and try to show off in their community, not knowing who and who is studying their movements. Not knowing who is studying their movements. What are the effects of this data breach in organization? When organizations spend too much money in trying to mitigate this attack, it will increase their operational expense, which by will lead to loss of money that will have accounted for at the end of the financial year as profit, a huge profit or income to the organization. Majority of the money would have spent on operational expense, trying to go to courts, trying to go to the compliance institution, how to track the money. A lot of this money will be also spent to get back the data. How are we sure that this data we are trying to even get back from the fraudster are even more secure, have not been compromised as well? And this will lead to abnormal returns on investments. When the profit of the organizations is not increasing, the returns on investments will be diminishing. It will be reducing, whereby investors will not want to continue to do business with the organization. And this will affect the market share of the institution. When it affects the market share of the institution, it brings a negative image that the institution is not well structured, not well organized. And these are the analysis of data breach. We've seen so far, we've taken analysis of how data breach is done in different organizations. A major of these data breach are done by fraudulent practice, which are often arise as a result of internal fraud being practiced by internal staff. And these are due to exposure of customer details and employees' information, which has been exposed to the fraudster. And the financial reports of the organization will also be affected, which lead to bad reputation. How can we mitigate against this attack? We can mitigate against this attack by using advanced multi-factor authentication with encryption. And one solution that can protect against data breach is using Sophos Central Device Encryption, which is a cloud-based managed Windows BitLocker full disk encryption solution. How does this work? This works when BitLocker disk encryption normally requires a TPM on Windows. Microsoft EFS encryptions can never use a TPM. The new device encryption features on Windows 10 and 8.1 also requires a modern TPM, which is why it is only enabled on new hardware. But what is a TPM? TPM stands for Trusted Platform Module. It is a chip on your computer motherboard that helps enable tamper-resistant full disk encryption without requiring extremely long passphrase. The TPM is a chip that is part of your computer motherboard. For instance, if you bought an off-the-shelf PC, it is soldered onto the motherboard. If you built your own computer, you can buy one as an add-on module. If your motherboard supports it, the TPM generates encryption keys, keeping part of the key to itself. So if you are using BitLocker encryption or device encryption on a computer with TPM, part of the key is stored in the TPM itself, rather than just on the disk. This means an attacker can't just remove the drive from the computer and attempt to access a file elsewhere. The chips provide hardware-based authentication and tamper detection. So an attacker can attempt to remove the chip and misplace it on another motherboard or tamper with the motherboard itself. So attempt to bypass the encryption. These are the mode of authentication. Windows 8.1 and Windows 10 that doesn't have TPM enabled. The only mode of authentication is passphrase, which is seen as displayed. Let's take a view at the dashboard. Looking at the dashboard, we can see the total number of computers that the device encryption has been deployed to. The 9 showing that means that 9 computers have device encryption installed on them. The 7 computers shown that the policy has been applied to 7 computers and encryption has been taking place on those 7 systems. The 2 shows that computers that could not be encrypted, that means policy have not been applied to this computer. The dashboard also shows you how many licenses has been used and how many is left. The dashboard also displays to us the name of computer and the logon user, the last logon user on this computer with the operating system running on that device, with the IP that is used to access the central. When the policy is applied to a computer, the Sophos device agent pop up on the computer. The user is required to type in the PIN with the required complexity. Once you type in the PIN, you click on Save and Restart. The system reboots and load to the BitLocker dashboard. This will require the user to type in the PIN as been typed before. When typing the PIN, you press enter. The PIN is going to unlock the drive. When the drive is unlocked, the system loads to this window logon for the user to type in the username and password. The encryption takes place, and this will last for a minimum of an hour, depending on the quantity of the files in the volume. At the end of the encryption, for you to view what has been done on the system, On the system, you click on the endpoint agent to view the status of the computer. This will display to you that your device is protected. Data protection is on. No malware or PUA found. Another feature that this device encryption gives you, when you are the policy setting, when you are configuring policy to a device, if you enable Sophos device encryption for Outlook, it gives you a ways of you to secure Outlook add-in for secure file sharing. This will enable you to protect files that's been sent via email or through Windows File Explorer. If you want to send a file to a user, once this policy is enabled, it pops up and asks you to type in the PIN. Once you type in the PIN, it encrypts the file with AES 256 and then send to the user. The recipient receives the documents, receives the mail, and open the File Explorer. The recipient will type in the PIN, and this PIN must be sent via another means of communication to the recipient. The recipient receives the PIN through another means and type in the PIN. Then press enter. The file is opened. Let's go to a demo session and see what happened to a system that's been hijacked from a staff. For instance, assuming a staff is on her way home, or a laptop is being taken from the company premises, what will happen if the thief or the thief take the laptop to their place and try to break into the security of the laptop? It's making several attempts to break in to the system. Unfortunately, it does not have the key. The system will load to this page and ask for the BitLocker recovery key because the thief or the hackers have made several attempts to unlock the drive. What will happen? What if he doesn't find it easy and he wants to break to the system? He takes the laptop to a computer engineer to repair the system, to break into the system, the security of the laptop. Several attempts are made by them. Let's see what will happen. Please give me a few minutes to share this to you. Share. Hello?
Hello, yes, we can hear you, David.
Let's see what will happen if the computer is taken to computer engineer to break in the security of the laptop so that they can go into the system and extract the data stored in the volume of the laptop, the C volume. They're trying to make an attempt to go to the boot setup so that they can disable the security of the laptop. They want to disable the TPM, which is the security embedded in the laptop. They make an attempt to deactivate it. After that, let's see what the system will show them, whether it will give them access to the C volume or not. The system will load to the BitLocker recovery key.
So at this stage, it's asking for BitLocker recovery key, which the hacker doesn't have, and the only way they can get that recovery key is from the administrator of the cloud-based Sophos Central that has the access to it. And the only way the administrator can access that stuff is by logging into the application in the cloud with username and password with another level of authentication. And the user will now supply the administrator the recovery key ID, which is being displayed on the dashboard below. The administrator will enter the recovery key ID on the Sophos cloud-based application to get the recovery key, which is going to supply the user, and the user will supply the recovery key on this dashboard, and the system will enter. But the hacker doesn't have the access to it, so there's no way they can break the security of the computer. Thank you.
So with this, when they try to make an attempt to break into the laptop, the system, several attempts has been made by them. The system will know that this has been done by the different user trying to break to the system. It will load to recovery key. And now the hacker doesn't have the recovery key. And for you to get the recovery key, it must be someone that he knows the administrator, and which is not possible. And the administrator is the only one that has the access to those recovery key, which is stored in the cloud. And the only way you can get recovery key is by logging to the application in the cloud with 2 multi-factor authentication. It's going to log in with username and password and with the security code as well. So let's go to the second demo. Hello?
Yes, we're still with you, David.
All right,
Go ahead.
thank you.
We're with you. Yes.
Now, this is the dashboard. This is the encryption, device encryption application. Now, for the user, for the administrator to get the recovery key, is going to click on the recovery key icon here. And type in the recovery key ID that is being sent by the staff or the user of the laptop. It's going to type it here and then press enter. Then the system is going to display the recovery key ID. Or another means you can also get the recovery key is by knowing the kind of device that you want to access. Once you go to the computer, you click on the computer itself. And click on recovery key. It will show you, it will display the recovery key, which is a very long digit number. To also view the kind of encryption that takes place on device, this is a device. It's showing us that this device has been encrypted. While the second device is telling us that encryption is taking place, which is in progress. And then the third device is telling us that it does not support encryption. We should have said that Windows 8.1 and Windows 10 and Windows 7 supports device encryption. But the kind of Windows edition running on them also matters what kind of supports they can also do. This is having single language edition, which does not support device encryption. Let's see the kind of encryption that takes place on this device. It's telling us that encryption status is stating that software-based encryption using AES 256. And the kind of encryption taking place is passphrase. Let's look at the second device. Encryption status is showing us that software-based encryption AE256. What kind of authentication is taking place in this device? TPN and PIN. You can see the difference that this device is showing that TPN was enabled in this one, and the other one TPN was not enabled. That's why it's giving us passphrase. Let's take a look at the dashboard. The dashboard is showing that 2 device encryption is taking place in them, and 3 computers is being deployed for this encryption. 2 licenses being used. The dashboard will also show you the logs and reports. They tell us the active system and the inactive, and the systems that are not protected. Let's see which computer are encrypted. This is showing 2 systems are undergoing encryption. One is done successfully, while other one is still going the process of encryption. So I will be free to answer your questions.
Okay, thank you so much, David, for this insightful session. Now we'll be taking questions. Thank you for the demo, David. Okay, so we have a question from a guest saying, how can I get my hard disk if I want to remove encryption?
All right, thank you. How can you get your hard disk if you want to remove encryption? You can get your hard disk. You can get your hard disk. First of all, you have to remove the hard disk from the policy. You have to remove the hard disk from the policy, and once you remove the policy, it's going to decrypt the system, the hard disk.
Okay, thank you, David. Is there any way we can show how to do this?
All right. For you to remove your hard disk, you want to remove encryption from the hard disk. Since you've applied encryption to the system, you go to the policy to remove the system from encryption. Hello?
Yes, we're with you, David.
So once the policy has been applied to that system, the system is going to display to you the system is unmanaged. It's going to display to you the system is unmanaged because you remove encryption from it. So once that is done, the system will start decrypting. I hope I've been able to attend to your question.
Thank you, David. So our guests, we hope we've been able to answer your question. If there are any other questions, please raise your hand using the raise your hand feature or type your question in the chat window and I'll get across to every one of your questions individually. So we're taking questions now. If there are any questions, we've had just one question so far. Hello, do we have any other questions, please, before we end today's session? Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
please go ahead, sir. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, hello everyone. I think I didn't join the session in time, so please pardon my question. I didn't get the name of the solution you're showing, but I guess it's going to take care of our data at rest. Is it going to, can it help an organization with their DLP requirements for compliance? Then again, can it help push out? I can see, can you go back to the slide you had before where you were showing the clients? Can it help us to push out configs to the clients? No, not this one. Not this slide. But my question is it going to help our DLP requirements for compliance? Then the second one, can it help with pushing out configurations to the client apart from the encryption configuration you mentioned?
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So Elizabeth has assisted in answering. She says it supports DLP. She's also a network engineer at Ha-Shem Limited. She says it supports DLP and it is not a patch management solution.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Yes.
thanks.
Thank you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does. What's the name of the solution again? Before I listen to the recording.
Okay, Sophos Central Device Encryption.
Hello,
Okay,
Chido.
great.
Good afternoon,
Hi,
everyone.
Elizabeth.
Okay, as regards your question, yes, the solution supports DLP and it can help you with your compliance requirements. Also, you can actually use the live response to do some installations and uninstallations from systems that are being managed by the endpoint protection solution on it. Currently, the solution David is showcasing is just device encryption. David, can you go back to the Sophos Central dashboard?
All right.
Elizabeth, I'm sorry. I think I'm not trying to hijack your session. Can this be incorporated to what we have, or do we need to deploy it on a different server or something?
No. It's not server based. It's not anything. It's managed from the cloud. So you can see to your right where you have my products. You see, endpoint protection gives you the antivirus, anti-malware. It's also embedded with Intercept X Advanced.
Okay.
Yeah, then you see that the device encryption is also separate.
Okay.
Yeah, the Sophos Central is actually a free platform that you can, install or not install. You can subscribe or you can start the trial. When you start the trial for these products within the Sophos Central platform, Sophos Central just continues to run. It's actually free. It's all these products that you now need to subscribe to.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I agree. I think
you also support your management of your firewall device, and your logs can also be stored on the central instead of the unbox report. You push your log report just like a SIM. Yeah, syslog server rather. Yeah, you were saying.
I think we've had this discussion a little bit. But so the wireless icon there is actually for the access points, right?
Yes, it is.
So if I have my wireless point and my devices all synced to this Sophos Central, it runs encryption for all of them, right?
No, it's not going to run encryption for your wireless.
Okay.
If you have Sophos wireless access points on premise and you do not want to manage them via your XG firewall, then you would have to purchase a license to manage wireless from this central platform.
Okay.
Yeah. So the encryption solution, that's why you see my product. They are individual solutions that you can subscribe to differently. It also does server protection. You cannot use endpoints, antivirus to manage server operating systems. Use them for workstations only.
Okay, so a last one from me. So tell me what will make me go with Sophos Central when I have the XG firewall on-prem?
Okay, the XG firewall is just to manage the gateway for your internet traffic in and out. Also, it gives you VPN. The Central is a cloud platform. It doesn't give you VPN. You can also manage your firewall from the Sophos Central, which is obviously a free management solution from version 18.
Elizabeth,
Yes, please.
let me help you out here.
Okay.
So this Sophos Central, take it as your centralized management solution. Take it as your McAfee EPO. If you are using McAfee currently and you are managing it centrally using the centralized server, which is EPO server. So take Sophos Central as EPO that now manage that have the ability to manage every other Sophos product. So this is just a cloud interface where you have all of your product that you purchase to be managed from the same from a single pane where you can have access to each of those products. Now, when you talk of your firewall, the firewall that you have currently is only providing protection at gateway level. It does not translate to the endpoint or to the antivirus on your individual computers or server. So it doesn't eliminate that. So the Sophos endpoint is what serves as your antivirus and anti-malware software on your computer. But you cannot manage it from this Sophos Central, and you can use what we call synchronized identity that is also available within Sophos Central, where you can be able to talk to the antivirus on your computer if it's running Sophos. You can talk to your Sophos XG firewall that is on your gateway. If you have encryption deployed, also from Sophos, you'll be able to manage and monitor everything right from a single pane from this Sophos Central.
Yeah, thank you for the explanation. I think it's clear, and I hear you well. Sorry, I said I was going to ask the last one, but let me throw in one more. So it sounds to me, from what I hear from BitLocker Drive, right? So what I hear is if I have a fleet of Sophos devices, like I have my AP, then I'm running your antivirus, okay, then I'm running other Sophos products. I can actually manage it with this Sophos Central application. Am I correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay, so if I have like you know what I have, we have the firewall, the XG firewall, and if I want to throw in the access point, does it make sense for me to move it to this Sophos Central, or will you advise I just manage my access points with my firewall, looking at the cost and what I have?
Okay, for a synchronized identity, just like Elizabeth said, Sophos Central is a platform that is free to use for every Sophos customer. You are not paying for the centralized management. But just like she said, you have the option to manage your firewall as your wireless using the Sophos XG firewall, or you manage it via the central. So if you feel you want to have that, you know what that now give you is the Sophos Central it means you can access it from anywhere. For you to manage it with your firewall, it means anytime you want to deploy or make a change on the wireless level, you will always have to connect to your firewall. But your firewall can only manage your Sophos. It can only serve as a wireless LAN controller for your wireless. But if you are now other Sophos products, just like we said, I think it will be best you go with Sophos Central, where you have everything all in a single console.
Hello, Titi, can I come in there?
Yeah.
For the wireless via Sophos Central, management of the access point is not free. You'd have to purchase a license for it. It's only management from the XG firewall that is free.
Okay.
That's why you have it on the list of my products. Yeah.
All right, no problems. That was very, very helpful, and thank you for the response to Lokman and Elizabeth.
Thank you, Chidozie. Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Titi. If there are any other questions, we'll be taking them now before we end today's session. Are there any other questions? Okay.
Sorry, not a question now, but a comment. Do you have a sales support person I can follow up from here?
Oh, yes, we do. I'm going to type, you can send an email to sales@hashem.com.
Please, I need that.
Just share the email address in the chat in the IM window, so you can send an email.
You may also please indicate in the feedback form so that someone can also get across to you.
Yes, please.
All right, there's no problem. Thanks very much. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so if there are no other questions, we'll be ending today's Tech Security 101 webinar. Thank you all for joining today's session. Thank you, David, for the presentation and demo. It was very insightful, and I'm sure everyone also enjoyed today's session. We'll be having another webinar on Thursday. Please endeavor to join us. It's our COVID-19 lockdown strategy webinar. We'll be sharing the links to join as well. So thank you all for joining today's session, and the recording will be made available to every one of us after this session. Thank you all, and do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.